right. Woo! All right.
Hello.
Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. We have no time to waste. We have a boat to catch. All right. Thank you. Sit down. Sit down. We have a boat to catch. Haven't you heard? We're going on a boat. We don't want to be late. Do you want to be late? Okay, because you won't be on the boat. So I heard. What you guys are going to find out this afternoon is we're not really that sharp. I can't even bring along a tie that matches or a shirt that fits. But I thought I was doing so well. But what you're going to realize is one of the things that makes you look brighter than everybody else at one point is when you outlast them and outwork them. How's that? How many of you can outwork and outlast everybody else? Right? And you've seen it all. There's been some great guys in high school that played ball with you or went to high school with you or college, and you know, where you thought they were going to make it, they didn't end up making it. And where was it? I remember I was talking to a guy, and it was one of the guys I went to high school with. He says, the president of our high school, our class high, he says, I saw him the other day, and he said, yeah, good. What's he doing? He says, he's a security guard. Well, okay. I know there's different levels of security. My cousin's in charge of airport security for the whole province of Quebec. That's a little different security than security at the hospital for a private security company. I said, wow, that guy had a lot of promise. I mean, he was doing so well. What happened? I don't know. I guess nobody showed him the plan. Who knows? I might have been doing security right along with him if it wasn't for this business. Right? Now, a lot of you guys go out there looking for diamonds. You're looking for people that are really sharp and, you know, just got their act together. And what you're going to find is that's not who we're looking for. We're looking for the people that are hungry. And so we're going to talk to you today from a point of view of you being hungry. And so what that means is don't get offended by anything we say. Can you do that? Okay, just think of us as a couple of, dumb foreigners, all right? We didn't know what we were saying. If you get offended, just say, stupid Greek. Doesn't know what he's talking about. Right? But I do have to tell you also that usually when somebody's offended, they've bumped up against the truth. Right? I mean, if something's not true, how can you get offended? You laugh. You say, what an idiot, right? But when you get offended, nobody wants to hear that kind of stuff. So, if you got offended by anything we say today, take it upline. You need to take everything we said upline. If it just in any way conflicts with what you hear from your upline, from your mentors, if you're, being accountable to somebody, and they say, that do something, and we said something a little different, always go with them, all right? Because we won't be here on Monday, Tuesday to hold your hand, all right? You'll be dealing with stuff we said, but we're going to try to keep it as straight down the alley as possible. We know, being on the same team, on the Jaeger team, you're not going to hear anything crazy here today. All this is maybe is just a little bit of a reminder of what you're supposed to do. And the reason they bring us in is because you stop listening usually to your upline. So they bring somebody in with a different accent, looks a little different. And then you're going to go to somebody and say, you know what he said? And they're going to look at you like, I'm glad you heard it. I'll stop wasting my breath. And so, be back in a bit.
Hi everyone. We're so excited to be here, and it's funny because I was sifting through my notes this morning, and I said, you have so much wisdom in this team here, and if you accumulate all the years, you have, probably hundreds of years of wisdom, and you're not taking advantage of it, I'm sure, to its full extent, like you should be. Wisdom and knowledge in this room, and you need to just plug into that. I want you to picture the lifestyle you want, the lifestyle you'd like to have. Really picture it. I know some of you and I love the personality type so much, having studied that, because it helped us so much in our marriage, with our IBOs, with our upline, with our family. It helped a lot. And so I know some of you are very task oriented and you're thinking that's a waste of time. I just want to get my checklist done of what I have to do in this business. But it's important to take that time to just think. Stop. Stop that brain from clicking away so fast. Put a spoke in there and stop it. Stop that list of tasks you've got in there and think about, what do I really want? You have a perfect opportunity here this weekend. You couldn't find a better place to do that. I'm sure you have an hour free somewhere where you can just sit and think, what lifestyle do I want? We just want it to be free. We hate being told what to do, where to go, where to be, both of us. And we just want it to be free to rule our own lives, to be rulers of our own day. Freedom is exciting. It's a lot of fun. There's nobody you have to check with. I mean, once you have children, there's a little bit more organizing to do. But you know what? It can all be done. You just have to do more. If it means getting up 15 minutes earlier, if it means, 15 minutes later, you just have to do a bit more. Temporarily work hard so you never have to work this hard again. And you know that working hard, it's not this business that's difficult. It's what you have to do at your job all day that's hard. Visualize building this business at some point without what you have to do all day, without your jobs. It's not difficult anymore. You can build this painfully fast or painfully slow. It's your decision. And we don't care how long you've been in, or we don't care if you come from Yale or jail. You really have to start thinking, where am I going from here? In 5 years, how old are you going to be? 5 years older. Whether you build this business or not, what are you going to be? 5 years older. You know how quickly the last 5 years went by? The next 5 years are going to go by even faster. So think about the lifestyle you want. Stop, breathe, and think. What do I want in my life? How do I want my life to be? And then with your support team, with your upline, sit down and work out a strategy. Tell them exactly how much money you want to earn, when you want to earn it, and they can sit down and draw out a very specific map for you of exactly how much you can earn and what activity needs to be done to earn that money. You're here because you're different and you're above average. Congratulate yourself. Give yourself a good pat on the back. You are different. I never left one of these functions thinking, oh, I could have done something better this weekend. That never crossed my mind. This is the best thing you could do this weekend. It's funny because it's so dark here. I'm trying to read my notes and I'm like, it is because it's dark because I'm wearing contacts. It's not because I'm losing my eyesight. We all want to learn more, so I applaud you for being here. And you know what? There are so many businesses out there. There's so many people that are waiting for you to come and change their lives, that are saying, I need something today. So don't be afraid. Build up that confidence. You'll look at some couples and you say, oh my gosh, they seem so far away. I'll never get to that level. I'll never be there. But they are the first people to say, if we can do it, you can do it. I know Dexter's told us a few times his biggest disappointment isn't that there aren't more double diamonds, there aren't more triple diamonds, because he knows, he believes in us more than we believe in ourselves. And if he says, do you think he's an authority on this business? Would you think that Dexter and your other leaders here are good authorities on this business? I think so. And they know, and they came from far. Everyone's had humble beginnings in this business. We all start from the same point, zero. And if they're saying that we can do it, who are we to not believe that? We have no authority on the subject because we don't know. We haven't seen the other side yet. But they have, and they know what it takes. So why are we not believing it, that we could do it, that it's possible for us? You have to sit and down, understand that I mentioned it a little bit yesterday, we all need to change. Now, some of us it's just, the way we look outside. Now, Andy mentioned it, and it's very, very true. We'd rather take someone who's hungry and wants more out of life and is just looking for a way to get there, but, might not be able to match his tie and his shirt or something. We'd rather take someone like that and help them, guide them along, and teach them about people skills and introduce books to them and introduce the CDs to them, which for Andy and I were the key for our success in the beginning years because they kept us plugged in, they kept us motivated, they kept us in that mindset. And so we'd rather take someone like that than someone who looks sharp and is not teachable. And so you think to yourself, am I being teachable? Am I being humble and teachable? Am I willing to listen to instruction? Because it's not a bad thing to be ignorant. We all are. We understand that you don't know how to build this business. You need to understand that. We all come in with different sets of talents, that's true, but you do need to understand that there are so many things you have to learn. There are so many things you have to change within yourself and maybe exterior. You start with the exterior. That's the easiest. Okay, I want to dress more professionally. I want to look like someone who wants to, that someone else would want to be in business with me. When you are with someone, ask yourself the question at the end of that meeting with a prospect I'm talking, or even an IBO, would we be friends without this business? And if the answer is yes, you've done your job well. Being relatable, and that's the only way you can be relatable is by changing and learning. I'm going to bring Andy out here because he's going to have a few things to talk to you about. But we want you to know that we do believe that you can do it because Andy and I, we know where we came from, just like Dexter and Bertie, just like Jerry and Sherry. We all know where we came from. So if it was possible for us, we know it's definitely possible for each and every one of you. You just got to be willing to be teachable, to learn, and to change. Here's Andy.
All right. Good. All right. All that is... Well, a part of that is being able to laugh at yourself. Somebody said that never be afraid to laugh at yourself because you might be missing out on the joke of the century. Nobody wants to think of themselves as the joke of the century, huh? And the other one is don't tell me a problem is real tough because if it wouldn't be tough, it wouldn't be a problem. Agreed? So there is no such thing as a problem that you can't solve. And sometimes you think the problem is that the business isn't working for me. And you could be brand new and thinking like my 5 friends didn't get involved or said no, and like that doesn't matter. That's actually very good for you. We don't want anybody to have, like an easy time of it. All right? I'm telling you. Yeah, you're better off like getting knocked around a bit your first meeting or two. It like kind of puts, some thick skin on you. And this guy called me, I remember from Connecticut, we were talking to him, and I was talking to him on Skype, and the kid's from Albania originally, and he has a lot of buddies in Greece, and we were talking, and he's over in Connecticut. And we met him in Connecticut, no connection back to Europe or anything. But we were talking, and he says, I spoke to some friends and co-workers, and boy, like none of them are really interested in seeing this business. I said, well, that's great. What does that have to do with your success? How many of you understand that 9 out of 10 people will not be interested, not in this business, in really actually doing anything good for their future, period? 9 out of 10 people in North America don't have a clue what's going on with their finances, spiritual life, relationships, health, nothing. Why do you think all of a sudden they'd be brilliant if you spoke to them about this business? It'd be bad news if 9 out of 10 agreed with you. I'd say, oh my goodness, maybe we're not in the right business anymore. And that's because you don't want to be doing anything that 9 out of 10 are doing. Right? So, having said that, it's like people say, because people say all kinds of crazy things, prospects, right? They don't know anything. They say things like, well, not everybody's going to be interested in these products. What does that mean? So, would you only get in business if your product could be sold to 100% of the population? How insane is that? First of all, would you be the only one in the world to have found that product? What are the odds of that? Right? It's like, oh, you're never going to get in business is what I'm thinking. Any kind of business. Do you need a big percentage of population to get wealthy? No. For years I've heard that nobody buys a Mac, nobody buys Apple. Everybody's on PC. This was especially like 10 years ago. And I said, you know what? Apple does billions of dollars worth of business. Not bad for a company whose product nobody buys. We could fill a coliseum in this area, in the St. Louis area, in the Nashville area. We could put 20,000 people in it. You would have a big group, a huge income. And do you understand nobody would be involved yet? Relative to the population of North America, you wouldn't have even made a dent yet. Nobody would even know the meeting's going on. Nobody. And yet you'd be one wealthy individual. So stop worrying about what everybody wants to do. Stop listening to how popular is this idea going to be? People want cheaper products. People want less expensive products. This is what they tell me. People want less expensive products. People, are looking for discounts. Like when they say people, I said, do you mean like everybody? On our marketplace here, all 340 million North Americans, everybody wants less expensive product? I know there's a supermarket chain in Canada that is not the least expensive. It's known that they're more expensive. And they do very well. How do you explain them? And they look at me. They go, well, they're stupid. That's what I'm looking for. It's like you're into cheap handbags. Would you refuse the opportunity to open a franchise, to open a Gucci or a Louis Vuitton handbag store? No. Because there's a market for that. Right? So I get infuriated when I start thinking about these guys, and it gets me fired up. That's why I talk about them right off the bat, right? So, because I run into the same people you do. Don't buy the excuses. It's just a bunch of baloney. They don't have a clue what they're talking about. Don't believe them. Right? They don't know what they're talking about. Most big business people don't say stupid things like that. Okay? People that are never in business and want to do the right thing in the proper business say stupid things like that. Because they don't know what to say. Right? And they'll forget about it because people don't know what they're talking about, don't remember what they said. And so it's just keep it in mind. And those guys that say, I don't like this or I don't like that, it's not my cup of tea, understand you're not talking to a business person, you're talking to just a guy who's probably never going to make it. What do you mean you don't like it? What does that have to do with anything? Can a vegetarian own a McDonald's? Yeah. Actually, some people say, wait a minute, McDonald's? That's not meat money. Just joking. Right? It's important to understand that. Can a bald guy be a hairdresser? Yeah, okay. Just thinking. As a man, if you're not into women's clothing for you, would you still own a women's clothing shop? All right, so these are basics, okay, that we're out there, and you see a guy and you say, man, pretty sharp, and they say something, and you're like, oh, man, this guy's a lot of work, okay. It's going to take a while for this one. But you know what? Here's why you need to think this stuff and understand it, is because you're not supposed to get into an argument with him at that point about it. The whole idea is, can you be big enough to not correct them? Just nod your head. I remember Bert having a tape once where he talked to a guy, and the guy says, I don't like this business. I don't think it's for me. But the guy was a businessman, and Bert said, so when do you want to get started? The guy says, next week. Because a businessman knows, you look at the numbers, say, man, I don't like that business. But okay, put me in. I want the numbers. How many of you can just look at it for the pure numbers, right? And then there's those of you that love the business. That's us in the business. We love it because we know all about it now. We did not necessarily love it at the beginning. We'll explain tonight. Like I said yesterday, we didn't know for quite a while that we were in Amway IBOs, distributors back then. We didn't know what Amway was. We were in 6 months, and if somebody had asked us, we didn't know. But that's all right. Now, first thing you got to get straight in order to be able to deal with all these fools, deal with all these, fool's good word, right? Deal with all these fools and not get all worked up and freaked out about it and have it arrest your growth is to have a big enough dream. Okay? How patient was any big leader with mediocre minds, whether it be Einstein, Jesus, Gandhi, you name it? They're like, it's like trying to fit a 8 by 10 idea into a 3 by 5 mind. Okay? It's going to be hard. So what do we try to do? Well, let's crop our idea a little bit, see what fits in their mind, and we'll worry about the rest of it later. How many of you understand? Meet them where they're at, cover their needs. Now, the first thing you got to do is get a hold of your dream, figure that out. And I believe that's the hardest part. We believe that over the years, it's like lack of activity equals lack of dream or belief that that dream can actually be actualized. Agreed? Okay? There's no such thing as I really want such and such and believe I can get it, and therefore no activity. Okay? Now, you could have an implosion if you keep thinking that way. That's just a little too much conflict, okay, to deal with. But I believe that we need to work either on the dream, the specific thing we want, and the belief that we can actually get it with this business. And so people talk to me, we sit often with IBOs, and they sit and they tell me the logical reasons why this is the greatest business on the planet. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? Are you telling me this so I stay in? You're trying to appeal to my logic? I'm in, I'm doing all right. I said, why are you repeating all this? We know all this stuff. We know the logic of it. You know why you're doing it. That's why you're in. A lot of people get appealed to the logic of it. They say, yeah, that makes sense. But I said, the question is, what's going to get you off your butt? It has to be emotional, right? It has to be emotional. It has to be a dream. Or, a nightmare, whatever suits your fancy. That's fine with me. I don't care. Run. And any way you can run is good. Run to something or from something. Either one works. You have a tendency sometimes to run faster from something than to something. Right? People are funny. They won't run hard to chase $1,000 that was never there, never theirs, but boy, they'll run like all night long to get $50 somebody pulled out of their pocket. Right? It's just, if you feel you had it already, it was yours, then it was yours. The belief is 100% there. And so it's the same thing, when we're talking about getting somebody motivated. That's why we talk about your boss sometimes in your job. Well, you haven't obviously been able to inspire yourself on a dream relative to the activity you're putting in. So we just keep trying to remind you what it is you want to get away from, what it is you don't want in your life for the rest of your life. Right? And this is basically usually according to what IBOs tell me. I don't know that the guy's boss is a jerk. It's what he's told me. I keep reminding, remember, your boss is a jerk. He can't look at me and say, now, who said that? You did. I'm just reminding you. You had that feeling one Friday afternoon. What do you think to give you 2 days off on the weekends? If they didn't give you 2 days off, people would be killing people. Well, yeah. That feeling you have on Thursday, Friday? I don't know when you get paid here up in Montreal. It's like Thursdays. And just when you're about to get fed up, it's Thursday, it's dressed as you like Friday, and then it's the weekend. And what's the paycheck's like that shot, that drug addict gets, it's like, right? Monday you go to work, by Tuesday you're like, by Wednesday you're having Java like this, By Thursday, it's not that bad. It's all right. How many years of that can you go through? Rattling your insides. and doing damage to yourself. And so you got to keep that feeling bottled up inside you. You got to remember what it is you want to get away from. They give you a little bit of a break and you forget. You forget. People are running around. They're out their sunroofs on Friday. Woo-ha! It's the weekend. We're off. It's over. Till when? Till Monday morning? You get this excited about 2 days? And I see them and they're packing cases of 2-4 in their trunk and the barbecue stuff and they're off to a park and they're going this and that. And I'm like, I don't know about you guys. I just don't like too much temporary excitement. I can't forget at a park or a golf course or on a lake what waits for me on Monday morning. And so I just couldn't temporarily escape that feeling. I don't know about you guys, When you have debt, you have employees, you have stuff. How do you go to a golf course and forget about what happened? That ball makes you forget? Talk about a simple mind, right? But it's got to be with you. The dream or the nightmare have to be with you. You have to wake up in the morning knowing what it is you want or don't want. Because it's going to determine what you do first. They said first things have to be done first. And second things, not at all. Let me ask you something. If you know the process required, and you have the greatest leaders here in the business explaining to you all weekend long what you need to do, if you know what it is you need to do, what can possibly interfere with that on a daily basis? It's like, man, just go diamond, you clear everything up. Well, I don't want to screw up this, Andy. I don't want to lose my house. Guy's got like 20% equity in his house, and he's afraid to lose his house. I said, let's go talk to your banker, see whose house it is. I bet you'd be surprised. You don't want to lose their asset? Come on. They got you maintaining their property. What's the matter with you? Spending a weekend fixing the cement in the front, cutting the grass in the back, fixing the caulking on the home, doing all, well, it's important. Yeah, it's important because you own that stupid piece of property. It doesn't even belong to you. You own it, what? So you can pay the property taxes. But I get a deduction at the end of the year. Okay, you need a lesson in accounting. Money out is money out. They give you some back, it's still money out. Yes? People are stupid. Oh, he got a plane because it's a write-off. Yeah, that's why he got it. Yeah, it's a write-off. That's why. That's right. Millions of dollars a year, he gets some back. Oh, let's get a plane. Okay. You're going to hear this stuff. You're out there listening to this stuff. Don't eat it. Don't digest it. It's baloney. So your dream is just not a habit yet. Agreed? And you got to fool yourself into developing it by going out to look at things you don't know if you really need yet. Listen to me. We're not stupid. I mean, we look a little dumb, but we're not that stupid. Okay? You don't need a Mercedes. Think I don't know that? Don't need a Cadillac, don't need a plane, don't need a boat, don't need a Sea-Doo. As a matter of fact, let's break it really right down to it. You don't need the house you live in. You don't need an apartment. People have proven you can raise a family in a tent, in a teepee, in a cave, under a rock. You can, in a subway. We got plenty of guys living in the subway. They're there. They're there. You don't need to eat very good food. You can eat, cheap stuff. You'll survive. You'll survive. Nobody needs pretty much anything besides some oxygen and a little bit of food, which I think you can cover. You don't need anything. You need a cell phone. Don't need your watch. Don't need anything. Don't need a 4-slice toaster. Okay? Don't need pavers on your driveway, shingles on your roof. Don't need anything. But boy, we start thinking like that. We got a problem, don't we? It's like, what's that got to do with anything? You got to make it a need. It's a habit. We weren't raised to dream think in dream building. I used to tell my mom about like getting a yacht one day, and she'd go, "Oh, poor kid," you know. She'd feel bad for me. Don't think of these things. You're only going to get disappointed. Really? Why? I never imagined that it wouldn't be possible to get a yacht. Because one day when you don't get one, you'll be disappointed. She had already set her mind. It's not possible. What's the matter with you? Those aren't things for people like us. Who's us? I'm going, what? I know Greeks are the biggest ship owners in the world. We can own one. Right? More ships under Greek flags than any other country on the planet. So like, oh no, but not us Greeks. What kind of Greeks? The poor Greeks that left the old country, live in an immigrant part of town in Montreal. Those kind of Greeks. And so me, I'm thinking, can we move? Right? So, talk about like, are we trained to dream? Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, wishful thinking, we might win a lottery, what we're going to do. So we got to get over like how we grew up and retrain ourselves that something is possible. And then we got to go out and figure out what it is we want to be possible. Go, sit in those Mercedes Benzes enough time or drive one around. And I know it might not be the thing you really want. Pick a car, pick a house. You got to pick something specific that you can see, touch, feel. Because I'll tell you something. I just want to be a diamond. That's all that matters to me. My answer always is, hey, I believe you. Prove it. At the end of the week, we talk. It's obviously not working for you, my friend. A month later, it's really not working for you. I just want to have money. Like one day if something happens to my parents, I'll have that money. Well, how do you get up and run in this business in the morning based on that thought? Do you have a picture of your dad dying in front of you? Dad, lay down a sec. I want a picture of you. Let me stick a couple needles in you. Put this oxygen mask on. Muss up his hair a little bit. You want that picture in your mind? So start thinking of the positive stuff you'd want. Like one day when you can afford the Ferrari, ain't no doctor gonna say, I can't operate on your dad. That's Ferrari money. That's materialistic money. Whatever money. They will not say no. They couldn't care less how you made it. Just bring the cash. They don't do an investigation on you. You bring a check, a cashier's check, you bring cash, they'll hand it over to you. Really? You see, they're not going to care what I'm all about? No. They don't care what you had in your mind. The doctor's going to give, your parents what they need. You're going to go to another country and help them with what they need and be able to build what you think needs to get built for whoever. All because you had that stinking little dream for something that looked like it really didn't matter. But you got to make it believable. You got to believe in it. You got to focus on it. You got to go visit every time. Stop going home like when it's time to go home. My upline Emerald keeps talking about that. He's a great teacher. He was a teacher. And he talks about that U-turn. When you get home, turn around. You know what happens when you get home, especially if you live in cold country? What happens when you get home? You have a tendency to stay home. You have a tendency to get caught up. Oh, there's a million things to do around here. Yeah, that's why you should sell the stupid thing. No, just joke. Don't go out and sell your homes. Okay? Just burn them. Don't do that. Don't do that. But hey, whatever works, okay? I mean, you think you're doing all right. Hey, not bad. I'm all right. Look at this place. Not bad. Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. It's easy down here. I dare you to own that size house in Canada. More cash. You'd have to come up with a lot. Just a little joke there. Don't freak out. So come on. I mean, can you turn it around? If you haven't dream built yet, if you haven't gone to see what you want yet that day, and you haven't contacted the amount of people you need to contact, because that's part of the activity loop, the commitment to your future is going out to meet people that aren't on your list yet. If you haven't done that, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just because you gave 8 hours a day at work or 10 hours a day at work? No. That was survival money. But I need to spend time with my kids. No, you don't. You had kids before you could be free. It's not anybody's fault. You want to get free? You know what it'd be like to have your family free? Well, get busy. Your kids will not care what you did with them at 6 years old. They don't even remember. They couldn't care less. You know what they want? They want to know, what have you set up for them when they're like 20? Dad, do we have a future, Dad? That's what they want to know. Not did you give them a bath, horse around with them. Hey, man, I'm like everybody else. It's a lot more fun spending some time with your kids than some bonehead who tells you it's not my cup of tea. You got it? Okay. Just letting all that sink in there, like you guys, the front row here, will tell me if I'm going off track here or like digging in a little too deep there, right? It's just So what are you committing to? You're committing to making it happen. You're committing to yourself. You're committing to your dream. You're not committing to anybody else. I mean, commit to somebody if you want to, but don't let it become resentment after a while. I did that for you and I did that for... Hey, do it because you want and be quiet about it, all right? Just, give a gift. Do something in this business. Do it because you want to do it, all right? Do it for your reasons. Don't say somebody got me in this thing, talked me into it, and then I didn't get what I want, and I should never have done that. Well, you're going to have a lot of issues in life if you keep thinking like that. So stop thinking like that. Get committed to what it is you want. So if this business is going to get you what you want, well, commit to it, right? And so what's the first thing we want to commit to? We want to commit to learning. Learning new habits, like dreams, like put it in front of your mirror, put it on your ceiling. When you wake up, you got to train yourself to see what it is you want all the time, so that one day you can see what it is you want without having it in front of you. And that way, when you're out there talking to people, you're always envisioning the life you want, that house in Florida, that place in the mountains, that place on the lake, whatever it is, and you'll have a tendency to have a smile on your face. You'll be thinking great thoughts. Instead of, oh my goodness, how hard it is to speak to people, and you look like it's hard to speak to people, and therefore you don't talk to people because you don't look like somebody that's very approachable. You got to work on your technique. If you say hi and you start, talking to people and they go, you got to work on your approach. Start smiling. Don't smile right when you're about to meet somebody. It's too late. They saw you already. Be happy. We've seen decks. I mean, Scott's talked about it. Jerry's talked about it. I've talked about it to my guys because we've hung around. One of the most important relationships in our lives is that with the Jaeger family. And we hang around decks and we go out, go grab a bite, do anything. We leave the house. He takes a couple minutes. He goes real slow. And that is because he psychs himself out to talk to people. He doesn't have to talk to people anymore. It's become a habit. But further than that, I think it's become more than just a habit. I think Dexter's always trying to make a point with us. I'm a quadruple, double dimple crown, 35,000 never seen before Amway points. The man who should be receiving an extra 50 million from the corporation just because they did what they did. But that's a whole other seminar. And he's getting ready to be able to speak to people to make a point to a Greek-Canadian bonehead. So, man, he's going through a lot of trouble. Why do you think Dex is as wealthy as the whole family is today? Because it's been a life of going through the trouble of doing what's important for other people. Agreed? Okay. And he realizes, man, I don't even have to worry about my getting such and such. I just got to worry about Bob, Sam, Sue, Mike. Because if I worry about them, I'll get what I need. You look all right. So you don't look very happy because you're out there contacting, worrying about you, what your problem is. People don't cooperate. Oh, I'm going to waste my time again tonight. We know it's hard to be out there contacting people. You got things to do at home. Oh, no, we burnt that, right? We're out of there. It's like you're thinking of all the things that need to get done at home, and it's not what people usually do. You feel like an idiot sometimes. It's like, and then you start thinking, what if nothing happens? I wasted another night. Well, keep thinking like that. You'll be wasting a bunch of them. You got to stop thinking that way. Or start saying, my diamond's around here somewhere. My diamond's around here somewhere. I'm looking for an emerald. I'm looking for a diamond. It's got to be one of these guys. I wonder who it is. Who's going to impress me tonight? Start thinking these thoughts. The guy who impresses me, man, I'm going to be inviting him to that lake house every single summer. I can see me and that family, our family and their family, like enjoying ourselves for years to come and riding on sea-doos and jet skis. They're going to be so happy I contacted them. They don't even know it yet. Best thing could ever happen to them. They don't even know it yet. This is going to be absolutely fantastic. Can you start thinking positive? Yeah. And it's going to be a chore. Take it from el numero uno negativity guy. Okay? I'm a little bit of a sourpuss sometimes. That's all right. I'm a work in progress. Why do you think why do you think I know what's going on so well? I go through it every week. We're working on it. But the people that have no hope have quit. We outlast everybody. You understand it? Okay. And so it's all a question of who wins in the end. You stick to this program, you stick with these people, you will have won in the end. Nothing can knock the socks off this business. Nothing. This is absolutely the best. This is the thing that'll give you the money to do everything you want and allow you to look as good as the Meadows do when you get to their age. To look as good as the Mazzios do when you get to their age. Right? Hey, listen. Frank and Joan Mazzio, Molly and Roland. You look at the people in this business that have been around for quite a while. They look great. They're excited. Why is Frank excited? Because he's hanging around 30 and 40-year-olds. He's hanging around 20 and 30-year-olds. He's excited. All right, so you got to get committed to learning, from CDs, books. Your association is so important. Association equals influence, and the number one determining factor in your success in your life is your influence. Your influence has been up to now. You have access to the best. You can totally change that if you're willing to hang around. I figured out one thing. It wasn't about my upline contacting me. It was about me chasing them. They weren't going to be looking for me. The minute my upline starts looking for me, I'd have a little less respect for them because I know now I'm one of their only options. They didn't chase me. I chased them. I didn't even give it a second thought. There was nobody else willing to help me. Never before in our lives had somebody come along to help us make more money than them. And that's exactly what happened within 3 years. So that was just blew my mind. So I just keep talking to these people. You need to keep talking to them. Always, always. People say, I have this problem, it's money or whatever. Hey, listen, if that's your problem, talk to your upline. I'm just saying, if that's your problem, talk to somebody about it every time you're about to do it. How many women have elbowed their husbands up? Okay. What else do you commit? You commit in the form of time. Commit the time you put into this business. And once you have a group growing, it's pretty easy. You commit to people, they want to do something. You make the time for them, don't you? The time that's the hardest to make is actually the intangibles, the dream building and the meeting new people. That's the time that's the hardest to make because it's you can't grasp it. Can you grasp it? You can't grasp it. It's eludes us. If we just had a task to do, we could work, all of us, I know these guys, 20 hours a day we'd work at it. Dig a ditch, just keep digging, man. Dig the best ditch possible. Give me 2 shovels. You follow what I'm saying? But it's not that simple. That's why they're going to pay you the big bucks. If everybody can innately and naturally do this business to success without change, without thinking, they wouldn't be paying that kind of money. But those that commit, number one, to changing, to become who they need to become, to get what they want to get, by helping other people change to become who they need to become, they're the ones that are going to get all the goodies. And it's not going to be any mystery to you at that point why other people don't have the goodies. So, the activity loop's pretty simple. And you've heard it a million times about, a list. If you have a list in your phone, that's pretty easy, but it's about contacting people, create a new list. Your success doesn't lie with the initial names you have. That's your initial success. But your long-term success relies on meeting strangers, creating a relationship, getting an IBO, and getting them platinum. That's the process, the whole process. When you start off, you cheat a bit because you developed a relationship before the business was in play, and you bring them right into becoming an IBO. Now you got to just do the whole cycle, which is meet new people, create a relationship, turn them into IBOs, and bring them on to platinum. If you can deal with that cycle, that's the real cycle. That's the real activity loop, by the way. The rest is pretty simple. You just help people do the same thing. And if you can master that, the rest is easy. And guys, the videos are all great, okay, for new people. And, if you have a lot to do and you don't have a lot of time, but let me tell you something. Don't be shy about sitting and drawing a plan with somebody either. For you personally, I'm talking about, not for your downline. It's part of developing the relationship. It's part of screwing things up. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. Just remember, everything works as long as you're excited. If you're fired up and excited, man, they don't care if you do it upside down, backwards, and the totally wrong way, your group will grow. And people who know exactly what they're doing be going, oh, that's not doing it right. Well, you keep cashing in the checks, while the people who do it right don't do much of it. We'll see you later.